Hello YouTube, this is a video on how to choose pickups for your guitar. Now, there's the primary tone of your instrument you've got to consider first of all. I don't care what people say, each guitar has its own resonances. If you can put it down to wood or whatever, good on you, but each guitar has its own voice, its own frequencies where it feels at home. For example, I've got my Epiphone Flying V here that has been refinished, and I've got a Seymour Duncan Dimebucker in it. Not because of any sort of fanboyishness for Dimebag, even though that is an element, to be fair, it's a great pickup, but also because it's a very bright pickup. It's slightly scooped, but it's also quite, not quite fizzy, but very bright. And this guitar, if I turn the volume down, is quite... quite dark, not exactly dull. It does resonate well, but it's got a lot of bass into it, and that's probably because it's a older body and mahogany neck. But yeah, I wanted to. It came with these two Warman Zebra pickups in it. I left the neck in it 'cause it's really good. But funny enough, it's my first experience with Warman pickups because I got this for 50 quid. But that's a different story. The bridge pickup wasn't quite biting enough for me. It had so much low end, I couldn't control it. It was too unclear, not quite muddy, but fuzzy somehow. Almost pathy, that sort of chewiness, but without the clarity, even with the ceramic magnet. So I had a good think about pickups. I thought about bare knuckle, I thought about other Warman models, because I thought, oh, these are alright, give them a go. But yeah, in the end I decided to get a Dimebucker for it. As you can tell by the finish, this was meant to be a Mastodon sort of tribute to Brent Hines. Lovely silver burst, because he plays silver bursts. And at the time I had this resprayed, his Epiphone signature didn't exist. So I really wanted a Brent Hines guitar. So I, got one. Basically, got it resprayed for 50 quid. Or 70 quid, something like that. So yeah, it's a great guitar, but it's very dark. And it does resonate really nicely. The whole body resonates. That's what I like about these. The 2 points especially. I think there is something to do with the shape. You can just feel it like a fork. The whole thing resonates and it's great. But to balance out the bassness, I needed some brightness. And then that comes to my second point of the video. So you figured out, by playing your guitar unplugged for a while, what resonances or what frequencies in the guitar you like and want to accentuate, and what frequencies you want to tame, maybe just ease off on slightly. For example, the Dimebucker doesn't exactly cut out all the bass end, but it just takes it just nips it off a bit, and it sort of pushes up the high end ever so slightly, because it's a high end trebly pickup. So 2 is, what voicing do you want? Because, for example, you can get bright pickups that are PAF style. You can get bright pickups that are modern. You can get bright pickups that are low output. You can get bright pickups that are high output. And from then you've got to think, well, if you know manufacturing, you know what they like, then have a look at their range. But I try very hard not to subscribe to one manufacturer is God. Because it's very easy to go, oh, just put some Duncans in it. Oh, just put DiMarzio in it. What you need is this. What you need is that. What you need is bare knuckle. They're the best. Just try not to think of it in those terms. It's all physics. All companies do something that are good, or they wouldn't be around. If they're crap pickups, and why are you buying them? It's the voicing of the pickup that matters next. I wanted a high output pickup. I wanted it very tight for rhythm. I didn't want to do all Dimebag stuff. I've had one of these before, so I know that it does lots of other stuff. It feels a bit more like a P90 to play, actually. Might as well give you a sound test while I'm here. So here's the root guitar tone with everything turned off. Yeah. So see, it brings out some of the spankiness in it. We've got this. It's quite a low end. If I turn on the bridge, neck pickup, you'll hear the neck pickup, and you hear all the guitar's bass as they come through. So you hear a big difference there. The pickups do match up quite well, but the neck definitely has a lot more bass. Obviously, it's due to it being a neck pickup and it being, you know, up here where there's more bass frequency coming through. But still, it really it booms at you. So to tame that was really nice. So you've got to think about what sort of voicing you want for your pickup. Whether you want it high output or low output. Look at players you like, what sort of gear they use, what sort of tones do they get. Especially when it comes to, say, Dimebag, he used a lot of EQ pedals. I believe he wants to boost the mids and then the second one to scoop the mids. So that makes it quite a tight sound, and he used the noise gate and stuff like that. So this isn't going to sound like Dimebag, and I don't want it to. I love Dimebag, but I am not him. So what I wanted was more of a tight rhythm sound. So if I go over to the gain channel, everything's on 10, just go straight to the bridge pickup. So it's very biting, but again, if you know a pickup well enough and you've had it before, and you feel that'll work, I think go with your gut. End of the day, because if it doesn't work, you can always just sell it and get another one. I always say go second hand with pickups if you can, because especially Dimebag, they go really cheap, because people buy one expecting to be Dimebag and they're not Dimebag, and they go, oh bugger, so they sell it and these go really cheap. Also remember, pickup height has a lot to do with it. So I've got the Dimebag actually set pretty low into the body. I mean, the screws are ever so slightly poking up because I've got them set so low, because I don't want that much high output. I do need it a bit tameable, you see. There you go, so you can see it on my shirt. And having it set that low does actually give you a bit more bass, I find, in the strings. But again, have a mess around with the bass response in your pickup, raise it and lower it, and see how you get on. You might find something you go, oh, that's it, that's the tone I was after. If you want more mids in your sound, you might want to adjust the pole pieces. There are lots of little things you can do like that, just to adjust it and see what sounds you can get out of your stock pickups. But this video is more about if you want to change your pickups and how to choose a pickup. Okay then, I'm back and I'm here with the Fender Esquire this time. Now, as you've already seen, the pickup in this is a Wallman Mirrorman pickup, and I've got a raw knuckle cover on it rather than the brass one that it came stock with. So, how did I choose this pickup for this guitar? It's a very strange choice because it's a brand new pickup and basically no one's got any. Well, it came with a Simple Duck and Invader, and as I said before, that was really, it sounded huge but it had no clarity. It was all mud. It was like getting hit with a bus, and you couldn't hear a damn thing. It just all hit you at one point. You couldn't. There was no poke to the guitar. There there was clarity because it's a ceramic magnet, but it was really hard to describe. It was just too bulky and beefy, and no, not for me, not for me. So I turned the guitar down to 0 and gave it a play, and it's quite resonant. And it's all mahogany, this guitar. It's mahogany body and mahogany neck and rosewood board. And it's quite a pokey guitar. It wants to pop out a little bit. It's quite punk rock, I think. Or maybe sort of, at least pub rock. So I started thinking about the sort of pickup that would boost those mid frequencies and just push it a bit further. Because I could always dial in more bass or more treble if I want, but to me, this guitar is so mid-range. It reminded me that the whole point of a guitar, it sounds a bit like a human voice. There are certain things you can do with it that are similar to human voice, especially with vocal cords and the way strings can bend and, all that. So I wanted it to be quite singing. So I thought about the bare knuckle war pig because I've got one in my Charvel. And I thought, that's a really good high output metal pickup. But then I thought, this guitar reminds me of Red Fang. That's why I put a sticker over it, where some idiots tried to scrape off the stripe. I thought I could go for a PAF. That'd be really cool if I had like a raw nickel PAF in there. It would look great, and it would sound really chewy and ooh. But then I do like my modern metal tones at the moment, and it wouldn't give me that tight rhythm I was after. So again, leading back to the V, I thought, oh, tight rhythm, I could go for the Dimebucker. But this guitar isn't dark enough, I think, to warrant that. It's too bright, especially as that's got a tone control, so you can ease off on the treble if it gets a bit biting. This doesn't. It's only got one volume. So if it's too biting, I'm screwed. It's just that there's not really much you can do about it. So the only option I really had was to go for a mid-rangey pickup, so I could boost the treble and the mids and the bass to taste. And that led me onto the Warman Mirrorman, because once at the UK Guitar Show I tried one and I thought that was great, because I played some classic Darkness riffs on it, and that worked. It didn't sound PAF-y and chewy, but it worked. It sounded decent. And I tried to Mastodon riffs on it, and they just blazed out. That sounded great, and I thought, okay. So it can do the big chunky stuff, kind of PAF-y, because Mastodon did use PAFs. It can do the classic rock thing, and it could do the tight rhythm thing, because I tried a bit of one note chugga chugga stuff just to see if it would do it, and it could do it. So it seemed pretty obvious to me that this was my best option. And luckily, One Man Guitars had this one lying about, because the bloke from the Tugs of Pantang was using this one, but he swapped to a different model of pickup. So One Man Guitars just had this one knocking about. It had a gold cover on it, and they sent it to me for a tenner. I thought, well, that's all right, isn't it? So again, I had these pickups covers knocking about. I whacked a cover on it. Well, the shop did, and he wax potted it so it wouldn't squeal. And now I'm going to show you what frequencies are accentuated and which ones aren't, so you can just hear the raw tone of the guitar with everything down, and then I'll bring it up and you can go, oh yeah, I see what he's done there. Or not, you might think I'm talking out my arse, that's fine as well. through some of the same riffs with the Fender and with the Epiphone, and I think I've sort of made my point, because different guitars are inherently different, even from one guitar to the next, of the same make, same model, same factory, same species of wood, all that. There are differences. And you want to accentuate certain frequencies and you want to shelve off other frequencies. So I think by playing the same riff with two different guitars, I think I've shown, on the same amp settings by the way, that's not changed at all, JCM2000 down here hasn't changed the settings at all. I think I've shown that different pickups and different guitars can cover the same ground but in different ways, and the way they do that is up to you, and what pickup you choose is obviously down to your preferences, but hopefully I've given you some guidelines on how to pick something that works. So there we have it, that's how I choose my pickups for my guitars. Hope this video has helped. Leave any questions in the comments and I'll try to get to them. Thanks, bye.